2025 was not just another year. Across the world, ordinary people experienced moments that defied logic. Events recorded by police reports, news footage, emergency calls, and first-hand testimony. These are not internet creepypastas. They are not rumors. In this documentary, we examine 10 of the scariest true stories of 2025 incidents that were reported, investigated, and in some cases officially confirmed. Some were solved. Some remain unexplained. All of them happened. What made 2025 different was not the number of incidents, but the evidence. More cameras, more recordings, more digital trails. Yet despite all our modern technology, these cases still left investigators without clear answers. Our first story takes us to Ohio in January of 2025. Like millions of parents, a young couple relied on a baby monitor to watch over their child at night. But at 2:14 a.m., their sense of security was shattered. A deep, male voice spoke through the monitor's speaker. It said only one sentence: "He can see you." The parents rushed into the room, finding their baby sleeping peacefully. But the terror had just begun. An immediate check of their Wi-Fi system showed no breach. No unauthorized devices were connected remotely. Police were called and they verified the recording. It was clean, with no signs of digital interference. There was no explanation. The family moved out within 48 hours. Next, we traveled to Tokyo, where a modern office building became the stage for an impossible event. Security footage from a high-tech elevator system recorded something that shouldn't be possible. The elevator stopped on a floor that does not exist. The building's blueprints confirm there is no 13th floor. Yet the footage clearly shows the elevator doors opening. A man in a business suit steps out into a dark, unidentifiable space. The digital display inside the elevator clearly shows the number 13. The man was never seen again. He never appeared on any cameras in the stairwell or exiting the building. The footage was reviewed by engineers and police. No explanation was found. In March of 2025, the UK Emergency Services received a 999 call. On the other end of the line, an operator heard only quiet, panicked whispering. The caller said, "I'm hiding. It's inside the house." The call lasted just 27 seconds before abruptly cutting out. Police were dispatched immediately, arriving at the location in under 4 minutes. They found the house completely empty. Every door and window was locked from the inside. There were no signs of forced entry, and nothing was out of place. The most disturbing part? The number used to place the call was completely untraceable. It was inactive and registered to no one. Now to a hospital in Brazil. Security footage from a brightly lit corridor showed a patient being walked toward a surgery room by a nurse. It's a routine procedure, seen thousands of times. But on the next camera angle, just a few feet down the hall, the corridor is empty. There are no exits, no side doors, no blind spots. The nurse is seen on camera looking around, confused. The patient had simply vanished. He was later found in a locked supply room 2 floors below a room, requiring a special key card he did not possess. He had no memory of how he got there. In May, we go to the dense forests of Sweden. A seasoned hiker, using a reliable GPS device, found himself in a terrifying situation. His GPS showed him walking in perfect circles, even though he was certain he was moving in a straight line, following a well-marked trail. He pulled out his phone to record his surroundings and his own voice, documenting the strange malfunction. But when he played the recording back, his phone had captured something else, the distinct sound of footsteps, crunching on leaves and twigs, following just behind him. When rescue teams finally arrived, they found 2 sets of footprints in the mud, his and another. But the second set of prints stopped suddenly in the middle of the path, as if the person who made them had simply ceased to exist. Our next story comes from a school in Mexico. A security camera in an empty classroom was triggered by motion late one night. The footage recorded a young child who had somehow gotten into the locked room, sitting at a desk. He appeared to be having a quiet conversation, speaking to someone just off-screen. No one else appears in the footage. The room was empty. When security guards found the boy and asked him who he was talking to, he replied calmly, "The woman in the corner told me not to tell. There was no woman on the video." In a quiet suburb in Australia, a family's doorbell camera captured something deeply unsettling. The footage shows a man standing motionless on their porch, staring directly at the front door for over an hour. He never moved. He never knocked. According to the time-stamped video, he didn't even blink. Then, at exactly 3:07 a.m., he looked directly into the camera lens, broke into a wide, unnatural smile, and vanished between frames. Police forensics confirmed there was no editing, no glitch, and no frame loss in the video file. One moment he was there, the next he was gone. Now to Canada and the disappearance of a young woman. The case took a bizarre turn with one final, cryptic text message she sent to her sister. The message read, "Someone is copying my voice." In the hours that followed her disappearance, her phone continued to send read receipts to messages her family sent, indicating they were being opened and read. But there was never any reply. The phone was eventually found smashed on the side of a remote road, but its battery was still powered on. In Paris, France, residents of an old apartment building had been complaining for months about noises from the unit directly above them. They heard constant footsteps, the sound of furniture being dragged across the floor, and muffled talking. The problem? The apartment had been officially sealed by the city for years. In November 2025, authorities finally broke the seal and entered the apartment. It was completely empty, covered in a thick layer of undisturbed dust. But the floor was warm to the touch, as if someone had just been walking on it moments before. Thermal imaging confirmed it. There were residual heat signatures on the floor in the perfect shape of bare feet. Our final story is not one incident, but a disturbing pattern discovered by emergency responders across the globe. In 2025 and several unrelated disappearance cases across different countries, victims managed to record audio on their phones in their final moments. When investigators analyzed these recordings, they found something chilling. In each case, the final sound was identical. First, the sound of slow, calm breathing that didn't belong to the victim. Then, total silence. These recordings remain classified by international law enforcement agencies. Across all 10 of these cases, investigators began to identify shared unsettling elements. Witnesses often reported a powerful sense of danger long before any physical evidence appeared. The technology designed to protect and inform them, cameras, GPS, phones, seemed to record more than it could ever explain. And most terrifyingly, these events didn't happen in haunted houses or ancient ruins. They happened in familiar, everyday places, An office, a hospital, a suburban home. The fear escalated without any visible cause. Privately and off the record, investigators from several agencies have acknowledged something deeply troubling. Our modern world of constant surveillance should prevent these kinds of mysteries. It should give us answers. Yet 2025 produced cases where our technology not only failed to provide clarity, but became part of the mystery itself. The scariest thing about these stories is not what happened. It is what didn't. There were no clear explanations. There were no suspects brought to justice. There were no logical endings. There was just the evidence and the silence that followed. These were the 10 scariest true stories of 2025, not because they were violent or gruesome, but because they happened in plain sight and to this day still remain completely unexplained. Thank you for watching.